All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with us.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
This one is fascinating.
Yeah.
So we are diving into the career of Steven Cheung.
Steven Cheung.
Yeah, so you might have heard that name recently in the news. He is President-elect Trump's communications director.
That's right.
And we have this fantastic article that basically tracks his whole career. And it's really insightful in understanding how...
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. It's insightful in understanding how somebody makes it in the world of Trump politics.
Yeah.
So you ready to kind of unpack all that?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so first of all, I mean, what strikes me is that this is not your typical path to political success.
No, not at all.
This is not somebody who went to an Ivy League school, worked at a think tank, and then, slowly climbed the ranks.
Right.
This is a very different path.
Yeah, it's much more, I don't know, scrappy.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Street Fighter style almost.
Yeah, so he starts out working for Arnold Schwarzenegger and John McCain.
Right out the gate.
Yeah, and then he very quickly jumps into the Tea Party wave.
Oh, yeah, which was a very, that was the Wild West of politics at that time.
That was a very rough and tumble world.
Yeah.
And, just to give you a taste of the kind of tactics that he was known for.
Yeah.
He is the one that coined the nickname Red Ted for Ted Cruz.
Wow.
So
we see that kind of a little bit of that, sharp elbows.
Yeah, it's right
from the beginning.
Not afraid to ruffle feathers and get people's attention.
Yeah, get under people's skin and get attention. That's definitely something that's going to help you in the Trump world.
Right, and then he goes and he works for the UFC.
What?
Yeah, for Dana White.
What an interesting, that is such a curveball.
But it makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
Because Dana White kind of has that same...
Oh, yeah.
That same, bold in your face...
Trumpian personality, for sure.
So it's almost like... It's like training.
Yeah, like a training ground.
To work in Trump world.
Exactly. Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but it makes perfect sense.
So then how does he actually end up in Trump's orbit?
So he joins the 2016 campaign as War Room Director.
Okay.
Which basically means he was in charge of rapid response and shaping the campaign's message in real time.
Okay.
And I think his background coming from these really intense, high pressure environments made him the perfect guy for that job.
Well, you talk about high pressure. How about this little tidbit?
What's that?
So apparently during the Republican National Convention, he almost attacked his roommate in his sleep.
No way.
Yeah, his roommate was Brian Lanza.
Okay.
And apparently Cheung was in the middle of the night, searching for his phone, muttering about needing to get a message out.
Wow.
It's like he was sleep fighting political battles.
That is intense, but also kind of hilarious.
It's hilarious and also terrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
This guy is...
He's all in.
He's all in. He is not messing around.
That's amazing.
But that level of commitment,
yeah,
I think explains why he has been so successful.
Yeah.
Because he is meticulous. He's dedicated. The article talks about how he would get the chyrons changed on cable news.
Really?
To make sure that they were, fitting the campaign's message.
Wow, that's attention to detail.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then, of course, there was the Access Hollywood tape.
Oh, right, of course.
That whole situation.
It's a huge scandal.
Huge scandal. And he was apparently instrumental in helping to craft Trump's response to that.
I mean, you've got to be cool under pressure to handle something like that.
Yeah, it seems like nothing phases this guy.
Wow.
Which I think is a quality that obviously Trump really admires.
Of course, yeah. He wants people around him who can handle the heat
Right.
and stay focused.
Exactly.
So
that's just the beginning.
Yeah, so this is all just the campaign. Now he's about to step into the White House.
Oh, boy.
And that's where things get even more interesting.
I can't wait to hear about that. Okay, so we're talking White House now.
We're in the White House. The Trump White House.
Yeah, and this is where we really start to see Cheung's, talent for getting things done shine.
Right, because the campaign's one thing, but the White House is a whole other animal.
Oh, absolutely. It's a whole different beast.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier some of the achievements that happened during that time.
No.
Gorsuch getting on the Supreme Court, the tax cuts.
Right.
These were huge legislative wins.
Huge wins.
And Cheung was right in the middle of it all.
I bet he was working behind the scenes, making sure everything was running smoothly.
Oh yeah, he was deeply involved in every step of those legislative pushes. Meeting with lawmakers, prepping nominees for hearings, making sure all the details are taken care of.
It's funny because you think of the Trump White House and you think of all the drama.
Oh yeah, all the chaos.
All the headlines about, people coming and going and infighting.
Yeah, it was like a reality show.
Yeah.
But somehow Cheung managed to avoid all that.
He stayed above the fray.
Yeah, he just kept his head down and focused on getting things done.
He's like the eye of the hurricane.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, he's just like calm and collected amidst all this craziness.
And people noticed that, right? Like
Yeah.
his colleagues, even the ones who weren't, fans of everybody in the administration,
Right.
they all had good things to say about him.
Yeah, like Sean Spicer called him a workhorse.
Workhorse.
He said he didn't let lazy people get in his way.
I love that.
And even Stephanie Grisham,
Oh, okay.
who, wasn't exactly a fan of everyone.
Right.
She praised his efficiency and his work ethic.
That's got to mean something.
It definitely does.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like he earned the respect of people across the board.
And that's what I think is so interesting about him.
Mm.
He's not like some of these other figures in Trump's world who seem to be in it for, the fame or the power grab.
Right.
Like you really get the sense that he's genuinely dedicated to Trump and his vision.
Yeah, he's a true believer.
Yeah. And he's willing to put in the work to make it happen.
No complaints, no drama, just results.
Exactly. And that is a rare quality in politics these days.
Incredibly rare. Yeah, I think that's exactly why Trump trusts him so much.
He's loyal. He's
Yeah.
competent.
And he's not out for himself.
Right. Like he's not trying to build his own brand.
Exactly. He's all about advancing Trump's agenda.
It almost reminds me of like those old school mafia movies
Okay.
where you've got the capo,
The trusted lieutenant,
the guy who's quietly running things behind the scenes.
making sure the boss's orders are carried out.
Without question.
Yeah, Cheung's like the ultimate capo.
I love that analogy.
Loyal, efficient, and when needed, absolutely ruthless in defense of his boss.
But even the most loyal capos can fall out of favor.
Oh yeah, that's true. Remember Anthony Scaramucci?
10 days in the White House and he was out.
The mooch, gone too soon.
Do you think Cheung has what it takes to last longer than the mooch?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
But if I had to bet, I'd say Cheung's chances of survival are pretty high.
Really?
Yeah, because unlike Scaramucci, who seemed to relish the spotlight and court controversy,
Oh,
Cheung prefers to operate in the shadows.
stay focused.
Yeah, stay focused, avoid unnecessary drama.
Plus, it seems like he has this unique ability to connect with Trump on a personal level.
Right, they have a real rapport.
Yeah, the article mentions that Trump jokingly calls him my sumo wrestler.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know if that's a comment on his physical stature or his fighting spirit,
Or both.
but it definitely suggests a level of familiarity and trust
Oh, for sure.
that most people in Trump's circle don't have.
Right, it's clear that Trump sees something special in Cheung.
Yep.
Something that goes beyond just competence and loyalty.
So yeah, I'd say Cheung's odds of sticking around are pretty good.
I agree.
So whether he lasts 10 days or 10 years, one thing's for sure.
What's that?
Steven Cheung has already left his mark on American politics.
Definitely.
But what does that mark actually mean?
That's the big question.
How does his unique style and approach change the game?
We need to unpack that.
All right, so we've gone from the Tea Party to the UFC to the Trump White House.
What a ride.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Charting Steven Cheung's rise to the top.
Right,
But what does it all mean?
right. That's the big question.
Like, you've got this bird's eye view of political communication.
Yeah.
How has somebody like Cheung changed the game?
Well, I think he's almost like a symbol of how politics itself is changing.
Oh, interesting.
Because in the past, political communication was all about, staying on message, being polished, avoiding controversy.
Right.
But Cheung throws that playbook out the window.
Yeah, he doesn't care about any of that.
He embraces the chaos, he fights fire with fire, and he understands that in today's world, attention is everything.
Right, it's like he's taken all the lessons from those bare-knuckle worlds that he came from.
Exactly.
The Tea Party, the UFC.
And he's applied them to politics.
And it's been incredibly effective.
Super effective. I mean, it's almost like watching a jujitsu master
Okay.
take down opponents twice their size.
I like that analogy.
He uses their weight against them, their momentum, and flips the script.
He's using their strengths against them.
Exactly. And Cheung does the same thing with the media, with the opposition, with the whole political establishment.
So he's not afraid of a fight.
Oh, he loved the fight.
He leans into it.
Absolutely. And somehow he comes out on top.
One thing that keeps coming up in this article is his sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
He's got that, quick wit, the biting insults,
The sharp elbows we were talking about earlier.
those kiss of death emails targeting DeSantis.
Oh, man. Those were brutal.
Those were amazing.
But also hilarious,
But it's not just about being funny.
right? No, there's definitely a strategy behind it.
It is a strategy.
It's about controlling the narrative.
Right.
Because in today's fast-paced news cycle, you need to grab attention.
Right.
You got to do it quickly.
People's attention spans are like,
So short.
yeah.
And humor, especially that kind of sharp, edgy humor, is a great way to cut through the noise.
And it disarms your opponents.
Yeah, keeps them off balance. They never know what's coming next.
It's like a verbal jab followed by a roundhouse kick. You're still reeling from the joke.
And then, bam, he hits you with the real message.
So what can we learn from Steven Cheung's wild ride to the top?
That's a good question.
Like, for anyone out there trying to make it in politics or any field, what's the takeaway?
I think the biggest lesson is to be authentic.
Okay.
Because Cheung isn't trying to be somebody he's not.
Right.
He brings his whole self to the table. The fighting spirit, the sharp wit, the unwavering loyalty.
All of it.
Yeah, and that's what makes him so effective.
So he's proof that sometimes being different, being a little rough around the edges,
Yeah.
can actually be your superpower.
Especially when you're working for someone like Trump who values those qualities above all else.
But also, it's not just about personality, right?
Yeah.
Like, he works hard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hard work and dedication never go out of style.
He puts in the hours.
He's not looking for shortcuts. He's not looking for easy wins. He's in it for the long haul.
That's inspiring. So there you have it. The story of Steven Cheung, the political capo, who's changing the game one sharp jab and one meticulously placed chyron at a time.
I love that description.
And what an amazing story.
Yeah, it really is.
It just goes to show you that in politics, as in life, sometimes the most unexpected paths
Yeah,
lead to the greatest victories.
absolutely.
And sometimes the quietest guy in the room is the one holding all the cards.
That's a great point.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of Steven Cheung. We hope you enjoyed the journey and maybe even learned a thing or two about navigating this crazy world of politics.
It was a fascinating dive.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and remember, there's always more to discover beneath the surface.
This is nothing more than election interference. Democrats know that President Trump is leading Joe Biden by wide margins, and this is the only way that they can stop them. President Trump is going to be defiant, he's going to take a stand, and he's going to fight back like he always has.
Thank you.